Let us have a look at this beautiful problem. Here, we are given two equations and we have to find out the values for three variables. Till now, we were familiar with finding out the values of three variables by using three equations. But now we only have two equations to find out the values of three variables. Let us begin by writing down what is given in the question. So we have a plus bc equals 2025. Let this be equation 1, and ab plus c equals 2024. Let this be equation 2. Now what I'm going to do is perform simple arithmetic operation. I'm going to subtract equation 2 from equation 1. So on doing that, what I will get is, now let us write down a plus bc minus ab plus c is equal to 2025 minus 2024. Now what we'll do is group the terms which have common variables. So I see that a is in this term as well. So I'll group these two terms together, and c is in bc and c alone, right? So I'll group these two terms together. That will give me a minus ab plus bc minus c is equal to 1. Now what we can do is take a common from these two terms. So this gives me a 1 minus b, and I can take c common here, which gives me c b minus 1 is equal to 1. Again, now I see in the bracket I have 1 minus b here and b minus 1. I could take common. I could take 1 minus b as the common term if there was 1 minus b and not b minus 1. So what I can do is take negative common. If I bring the negative outside, what will happen is every term inside this bracket would have the opposite sign, which means if there is plus b, now it would be minus b. And if there is minus 1, it would be plus 1 is equal to 1. Now we have 1 minus b common in both the terms. So I'll just take it common and write down the remaining part. And this gives us a third equation. Right. When I see this equation, I think, now what? There is no way to find out the value of a, b, and c using only this equation. But there is, because of this right part. The right part here has an answer of 1, which would mean that if I have to get an answer of 1, I need two numbers, which is 1 itself. That is the first condition. The first condition is to obtain 1 on the right part, I will have to have 1 multiplied by 1 on the left part. This is the first condition. That would mean 1 minus b is equal to 1 and a minus c is also equal to 1. There is also a second case. The second case can be, to be 1, I just have to have negative numbers. That means negative 1 multiplied by negative 1. That is also equal to 1, right? Which would mean 1 minus b is equal to minus 1 and a minus c is equal to minus 1. And there is a third condition too, which is really fascinating. The third condition is about the fractions here. That means, say I have a fraction 3 upon 5. If I multiply this with 5 upon 3, this would give me an answer of 1. Similarly, I could also write it as 4 upon 5 or 4 upon 3 multiplied by 3 upon 4. That would also give me 1. Yes. So that would give me a multitude of solutions if I consider the third case. But now, let us look at the question. The question is telling us to find out the integer solution for this problem, which means if I consider the third case, that would give me an answer for a, b, and c. But that is not going to be an integer solution, but it is going to be a decimal solution, right? Means there is going to be a decimal point and it is not going to be a fully integer value. So I would not consider the third case. Similarly, if I consider the first case, I might get an integer solution, right? So let us try this. And second condition also. Okay. Let us see if these conditions give us the integer solutions. Considering the first case, we would have 1 minus b is equal to 1. And on solving this gives us b is equal to 0. And for a minus c is equal to 1, this gives us a is equal to c plus 1. I've got the values of a in terms of c and I've got the values of b as 0. Now I'll substitute these values in any of the equation. So let's say I substitute in equation 1. Substituting, what I'll get is c plus 1 plus and b is 0. So if b0 is equal to 2025, that would mean that c is equal to 2024, and substituting c value in this equation, we would have a is equal to 2025. So that is our first set of solution. A is equal to 2025, B is equal to 0, and C is equal to 2024. Okay, we have considered the first case and found out the integer solution for A, B, and C. Now let us consider the second condition. Does it give us an integer solution? Let's find out. The second condition is 1 minus B should be equal to negative 1, and A minus C also should be equal to negative 1. Now let's check. Now on solving these two equations, we will have B is equal to 2 and A is equal to C minus 1. Let us substitute this value of A and B in equation 1. Then what do we get? We'll have C minus 1 plus 2C is equal to 2025. This gives us 3C is equal to 2026. Therefore, C is equal to 2026 upon 3, which would give us a decimal value. That is, this does not give us an integer solution. So, this second condition would not be valid for our question. Thus, what we can say that the integer solution for the given equations and for the given values of A, B, and C would be A equal to 2025, B equal to 0, and C equal to 2024. And that's the solution.